All right, all for one, episode 8. Man, we're rolling right along. Thanks for coming, Hunter.
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate it, dude.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So we kind of know a mutual friend, Ethan Stevenson, and also Tanner Smith, who works for FCA, and that's kind of how we got together.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming to Oklahoma, man.
Yeah, of course. It's my first time. I really like it.
Yeah.
I like this area a lot. It's really cool, really nice.
The mountains.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Not many. We actually have one mountain, but it's more of just a big hill.
Yeah. This is more hilly than where I live. Super flat.
Oh,
where
really?
we are, yeah.
No way.
Super flat.
Yeah, Alabama. Yeah, I've been there. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So those of you that don't know Hunter, which probably do, we went to Topgolf when you got here, and like within like 30 seconds, there was a girl that was like, "Hey, you look familiar."
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, "Yeah, I'm Hunter," and she's like, "Oh, I know you." Yeah. So, yeah, you guys are content creators. I don't know exactly like what would you title yourself as in that way?
Yep. Content creators.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't figured out the proper
terminology.
term. Yeah. I want to say influencer, but I don't think that's probably the right way to say it.
Yeah. To me, it's like two separate things. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So I think probably what brings us, there's a couple things that bring us together, but probably the biggest thing is, or the most common thing that probably we wouldn't know each other outside of is motocross.
Yeah.
So you've been a big fan of motocross, grew up kind of racing, I think. So how did that passion begin? Like what brought you to racing?
Yeah. So, excuse me. So I got my first dirt bike for my third birthday, P-Dub, of course. And then my dad raced, and I was just kind of introduced to it that way. I don't ever really remember there was a pressure for me to race. There was a local race close to me when I was like 8, I think was my first race on a CRF or XR70.
Sick.
Yeah. And so from there, I just wanted to keep doing it because I thought it was fun and a little competition. And I wasn't like super interested in other sports because I just grew up riding my dirt bike around the house. Like I grew up out in the country, so I could just ride around. And that was what I like to do. So racing kind of came natural to me, being that, like I said, it's what I wanted to do. So kind of raced the XR a couple times, moved up to a 110 and raced that in like the mini 4-stroke class for a while. And then I eventually went all the way up to 250.
Yep.
And then kind of, I think my last race I was 15. So I kind of got out of it. And then I've been back riding again for almost 3 years.
Yep. I love those like XR70, XR 110 or CRF 110, I guess now. But I feel like those bikes are just so perfect because they're really like just good for like your everyday rider, and then you can kind of like race it on a small level.
Yeah.
But they're so fun. Like even I have a 110 right now. Like
same.
Riding around yesterday. It's kind of like the perfect bike for everyone.
Yep.
Maybe. So start racing at 8. And I can relate to like the country thing, right? Like we didn't have a land, but we had like half acre behind our shop, and then you could just ride out in Moto for like hours.
Yeah.
And there's not much to do in Western Oklahoma, so it was kind of the perfect thing for us. So you start racing. Do you start to take it more serious at that point?
Yeah, I think so. Once I got on the 110, and then I started getting a little bit better, start jumping all the jumps, and we're racing on a Pee-wee track most of the time. Every now and then we'd go to a track that didn't have Pee-wee, so we'd race on the big track. But so we race on the small tracks, but I started putting together the jumps, and then I really started enjoying it. So yeah, I would say the 110 was a lot of fun, and then when I moved up to a 65, I kind of feel like I kind of took a step back.
Yeah,
like I wasn't the best on the small bikes, 60s and 80s, and then I had the 150.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I didn't have an 85 very long. Moved up to the 150, liked that a lot better, and then raced that for a long time. Then I went up to the 250. So I never did the amateur motocross thing. That was wasn't really quite on that level.
Yep.
But just some local stuff. And,
yeah. That's cool, man. I was the rest of your family kind of into it?
Well, yeah, just my parents.
Yeah.
I have a half brother, but he's so much older than me. So there was never like, it was just me and kind of whatever I wanted to do. It's just kind of what we did. Right. And then, so I never really I got into other sports in high school and that's kind of when I got out of riding as much.
Yeah. Yep.
So motocross was my thing for just the only thing that I was into for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I was kind of curious, what was that stopping point like for you? Was there like another sport? What was kind of the decision to stop riding so much? It seems like.
Yeah. I don't really know. Thinking back, I think it was like maybe not necessarily burnout, but it was just I think I was just kind of wanting to try something different.
Yeah.
And I went to a really big school up until high school, and then when I was in high school, I went to a small private school, and so it was easy to like make the sports teams. And, a couple of my friends were playing baseball, and I played soccer. So it's like, honestly, if you tried out, you pretty much got on the team. So it was like, it was just something different to do. And, so I just think I got like, I still enjoyed to ride, of course, like who doesn't, right? But I just started doing other things, and I didn't really quite have as much time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Yeah. High school life gets pretty busy.
Yeah, for sure. And I was dating my wife now at the time. So we've been together since then. So it was like, if I wasn't playing sports, I was hanging out with her. So it just kind of took the back seat. Then once I started driving, it was like, well, I'm not going to ride. I'm going to the movies or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. Do you think, well, I guess the first question would be, did you follow the sport like on a professional level, go to Supercrosses from a young age, or was that something you kind of come into later on?
No. My first Supercross was, I don't remember what year, but Atlanta in the Georgia Dome, kind of iconic. So I'm glad that I get to have those memories in the Georgia Dome, but so yeah, we started going when I was young. I was probably sometime around the time that I started racing, I would think. So yeah, but just Atlanta. We did go to Jacksonville once when there was Supercross there. But yeah, so I followed it. I followed the professional stuff all the way through. Not quite as much when I kind of took the break from riding, but I still did, you know, to a certain degree.
Yep.
So
yeah, man, the Georgia Dome, to me, that's like all-time Supercross.
Yeah.
I mean, it was my first Supercross to go to. So first, like dome.
Right.
And I was racing.
Yeah.
I remember walking in, and it was like the track was beautiful. The stadium was super cool, which I was really surprised when they tore that stadium down.
I know.
Because it was so nice.
Yep.
But yeah, I loved it there. And the Atlanta fans were like the best fans.
Yeah.
It was always like 80,000 people, like family atmosphere. The pits were crazy.
Yeah, pits were nuts in Atlanta. Yeah.
They had the inside pits. So it was like, no matter the weather, it was good. And I really missed that. I really wish that we went to the Mercedes-Benz Dome a couple times, but nothing against Speedway, but man, Atlanta Supercross was like iconic.
Yeah. And anybody like in our area that are motocross people will tell you that, like, oh, it hadn't been the same since the Georgia Dome.
Yeah.
It's like a thing.
Yep.
So
yeah, I to me, that's like, for me, kind of like, I love that stadium, that era. Seemed like it always produced really good racing too. The track was always really tricky.
Yeah.
So so you're out of racing for a while. Do you get married and then start riding, or is it kind of like somewhere in the middle there?
Yeah, no. So we got married really young. So we did that. We kind of finished up the schooling that we were doing. I got hired at the fire department. I worked there for a few years. And then when we kind of made the transition to full-time content creation, and I was like considering leaving the fire department, I was like, well, I got to have something, right? I got to have some kind of, because I got that adrenaline fix there. And I was like, I've got to have some kind of adrenaline, some me time, some guy time, that kind of thing. Because like my time at work was not only work, but it was also checked all those boxes for me out of the house, you know. And so I was like, I got to have something. So, you know, like I said, I've still always loved it, of course. And so that was just an easy transition. I literally bought my dirt bike like a day or two before my last shift at the fire department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm needing something to get into.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When I stopped racing, there for about a year, I didn't do much. I tried to do, my safety advocacy, that kind of fell through. And I was kind of looking for something to do. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the test riding thing or not, but I kept telling Hannah, I want to be a firefighter.
Yeah.
It just seemed like, I don't know, nobody really dislikes firefighters, I don't think. They're always kind of like heroes. But I think what excited me was just like this adrenaline and then the camaraderie of it all, like kind of like a brotherhood, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. Definitely get the adrenaline fix.
Yeah.
It's fun. I love, there's parts of it that I loved, of course, parts of it that I didn't, but I love the adrenaline aspect. And it's brotherhood. So you feel like you kind of, you got like, kind of like a team around you, and like you're going and you're doing all this stuff together. So it's, that part of it's really cool too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what kind of drew me to it. I mean, the excitement for sure, but it seems like most firefighters I know are pretty fit. That's kind of a thing after racing, like people get fat.
Yeah.
So that's one of my main goals in life. Don't get fat.
Yeah.
So that part of it, that camaraderie, I think was really something that sounded exciting because, I spent so much time in my life building all these relationships and friendships within the sport. And then I just stopped, and it was like, I lost like half my community,
right?
Or I would say most of it. So, the idea of like being able to plug into like a group like that was I think really appealing for me.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of another aspect of motocross that I was wanting to get out of it when I made that transition from leaving the fire department back into this. Because a couple of my friends that I used to ride with when I was a kid, they had kind of started getting back into it. And then when I bought my bike, another one of the guys that I used to ride with, he got back into it. So now we have this kind of core group that we used to ride together as kids, and now we're back riding together again. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that piece because just the community piece. Like most of the people that we're around are like either have ridden at some point, and there's just a certain like camaraderie, or you understand each other really well, that I think is really helpful in creating community, but also like a sense of purpose. Like one of the things I really struggled with whenever I stopped racing was, what am I going to do? Like that was a constant question from people. Hey, what are you doing? What are you going to do? And I just didn't really have an answer. And then I was kind of isolated because I didn't have a great community. So I think I mentioned to you, like I started telling people like nothing.
Yeah.
People would ask me, what do you do? And I just said nothing. And it like killed the conversation. Yeah. And it was like, so Hannah, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really helpful for me just to have a place to go at times. And once I started riding again, just the community that I kind of had to rebuild here locally, but it was also this great group of people that really understood kind of where I was from, what I did, and could kind of speak the same language.
Right.
So for you, like once you are done being a firefighter, is it a little bit difficult for you, or was it when you made that transition from, hey, I'm a fighter, and then people come and ask you what you're doing? Was that difficult for you?
Yeah, it was tough for a while.
Yeah.
And I would say that I've just recently kind of gotten to the point to where I'm completely like past it, because it is a pride thing too. Like you said, like kind of the brotherhood. It's a lot of people do respect. Only from my time there, only ran into one person that was like, I don't like firefighters or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Who is this person? I will find you.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So it's kind of viewed like as a respectable thing. And then I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, here I am going from this like respectable position to like just being on social media, which is honestly most of the time not really respected, which I understand that point too. But it was tough for a while, and I was like, there was a long time where I was feeling like, I'm like, man, did I make the right decision? But the good parts of what I do now are so good because I get to be home with my family and not like putting my putting my life in danger going into these certain scenarios. Get to be home with my kids every night and my wife every night.
Yeah.
So it obviously has its pros for sure, but it's getting past like maybe sometimes like your own ego. Being away from it.
Yeah. I am glad for you. Like you get to scratch that, or you got to scratch that itch. Like, when I talk to athletes that are like at the front of their careers and they're like, maybe I'm not going to be, for like an athlete, hey, I'm not going to be a Division I athlete, don't think I can do the pro thing. My advice is always just do it. Just do it as long as you can, because there's going to be a point when you don't do it.
Right.
And for people that, don't go and be a firefighter, and then that's in the back of their mind a little bit, like what could that have been like? And even for me, like, finishing my career, I'm at least glad that I was able to like hang on as long as I did. Cause it's like, I think especially as men, we have this like competitive drive. And if you've never scratched that itch, it's kind of like, I think it can sit with you in a wrong way.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. So I was like in the position to be, if I would have stayed another, I think 2 months, I would have taken a promotional test. And then, so part of me leaving when I did was because honestly at the time, like I wasn't really ready, but I felt like it was something that was needed to happen. So I probably would have, or I definitely, if I was still there, I would have taken that promotional test, and then it would have been like, well, let me ride this out. And then there would have been another promotion. You know? Then now let me ride this out. So me making the decision to leave was definitely the best thing for me, like in that time, I mean. But, I do still think, not as much anymore, but for a while I thought like, oh, what if I would have stayed, and taken that test?
Right. Yeah, I talked to, I don't know if you know who Jake Veneta is. He's the chaplain for Supercross. But he has this line, and I totally agree with it. When you're done, you either leave with, man, I still got it, or man, I had more on the table.
Right.
Which I think is a natural thing. I think you made the right decision.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
For Devin, one of the reasons I didn't even like look into the firefighting thing was Hannah was like, you have put me through, 8 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Of like breaking things and, this high stress environment. And she's like, I can't take, you being like at the firehouse for, 3 days or whatever, not knowing what call you're going to.
Yep.
Was that hard on Devin to kind of, I don't know, the anticipation, anxiety of that?
Yeah, I think it was. It helped that like we'd been together for so long, and we got married so young, and then I was still young when I got hired at the fire department, right? So it was like almost like this is just our next step of life, So it wasn't really like there was much option, right? Like she kind of had to just be okay with it.
Yep.
I mean, she definitely still had anxiety about it, and there were days like if I was going to something, like if I was going to a fire, like if I could after I got dressed in the back, I'm like going to a fire, love you, kind of thing.
Yep.
So, so she would kind of know, but yeah, she didn't love it, She did not love it.
Yeah.
She was glad that I was. It took a long time for me to be okay leaving, but she was glad when I finally made that decision.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can kind of relate a little bit. Like, I feel like Hannah was like hanging on for me in racing, but I could see this like sigh of relief. Yeah. Whenever I said, "Hey, I'm going to call it quits." And I think part of the reason I asked that is I think there's a lot of women in our sport that are like behind their husbands, and it's really, really hard for them. So yeah, I think that we're all in a little bit of the same boat in that like, man, they know that we like love what we're doing. But I try to remind Hannah, cause I mean, I still am riding Supercross and taking chances like, hey, this has a shelf life, I'm not going to, go through Supercross whoops forever. But yeah, it is difficult, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And she feels the same way about me riding. Like she's okay with it because she knows I love it, and she knows it's like kind of that fix for me and all the things that I spoke about earlier. But I've been tossing around the idea of like trying to maybe do a race, like a local race. And she's like, I really don't want you to, but if that's what you want to do, like I'll support you,
Yeah.
So it's a interesting subject from her, because she's not the kind of person to do anything dangerous like that. So I couldn't imagine, try to put myself in her shoes sometimes, and be like, should I, would I want her to be doing this?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, I did. And we had it on the YouTube, Trey Canard Official, once this is on Spotify or something. But we did an episode where I raced a local state race here in Oklahoma. And when I was talking to Hannah about it, I could see she was like almost like triggered, like, oh no, not again, not again. But it is hard. And I just appreciate that, we have like spouses that are okay with that, even though they're not like okay with it. They know that you love it. So they're kind of like willing to go with it, I guess, which is a super big blessing. So, I appreciate that. So you grew up in Alabama, I assume. Yes. You're living in Alabama now. Yes. I think the first time we talked, I was like, my wife's from Alabama, but you guys are like on the other side of the state, or where you're
couldn't
from.
Be further from. Yeah, that's actually funny.
Yeah, because I expect to be like, oh yeah, she's from Alabama, and it like generates some conversation. You're like, yeah, I've never even been there. But she's from like the north part, Florence, almost Tennessee, basically, and you're kind of like southeast, I guess.
Southeast, southeast corner.
Yep. So for me, growing up in Oklahoma, there was kind of like two things. You could either be or I guess a few things. You could be a baseball player, you could be a football player, or you could be a cowboy. Yeah. So I was kind of like outside of that, like norm, I guess. Was motocross for you outside of the normal in Alabama?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. Baseball and football, no doubt. And then a lot of people like to hunt. Yeah, hunting and like just hunting is very big where we're at, and it's something I never really got into. Yep. I've been, of course, but it's like, I don't know. I have a hard time sitting still. That's like why going to the track and riding is great for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you're done riding, you have that like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're
now
like,
I gotta wash the bike.
Yeah. I always like it though. One of the things I struggled with was sleep whenever I stopped riding, just because the amount of energy that you exert in the whole process like makes you really tired. So I remember like just laying in bed going like, man, I gotta like do something, because I am just like spinning my wheels. But yeah, so what's it like to grow up in Alabama?
Not much to do where we're at. Like, we're not in a very big city or anything. So we do have like some tracks around. So if you're, the people that are into motocross, there's quite a few tracks pretty close by. So, but yeah, what's it like? Kind of boring.
I can relate to that super. Yeah. It's like the things you do in Oklahoma are like go to the lake or go eat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, same. There's a couple lakes, so honestly it seems very similar being here versus being home. I see a lot of comparisons.
Yep. That's why we love Oklahoma City basketball, because it's like
it's the big thing.
It's the big thing to do. You know, other than like Sooner football or Cowboy football, it's like
right.
And everyone can unite on OKC, I guess. So you're in Alabama, Auburn. I think we talked about this.
Yeah. So I don't really care. I would say Alabama, but like I don't watch the games, or like if some of our friends are over and it's like a thing, hey, we're gonna cook, and okay, whatever. But if it's just me, I'm not watching the game.
Yeah. I'm sure you have family members though that are like
die hard.
Yeah,
for sure. That's all they care about.
Yeah,
they know everything that's going on in the off season, which I'm that way for dirt bikes too. I'm like, wear these silly season or whatever.
Yeah,
I love all that, so I get it.
Yeah,
but yeah. Football, not much my thing.
Yeah, I have a hard time getting into it. I got into it for a minute because my brother was pretty good, was a D2 athlete. So I like tried to follow it, but when I go to his games, I was just like cringing. Yeah, because I see all the ankles and knees, and all I can think about is tearing stuff up. But I did kind of enjoy it for a second. It was just, I don't know, something about motocross that I really enjoyed. I want to talk about you, but for just to kind of take a split second, is there anything in the sport right now that you're like, man, this is fun, or like anything that you're anticipating, or things that have happened this year that have been crazy for you?
Like in the sport?
In the sport of motocross, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Super Motocross. Sorry.
Yeah, Super Motocross. Yeah. I don't know. It's honestly, I mean, I love it all. Like I hated to see like when Jack got hurt in Glendale, I think, and then Tomac at Tampa, because I just want to see all those guys like stay in it, you know, and it be a battle. But so that's always kind of unfortunate when things like that happen, and then Chase going out of the outdoors, you know. So that's like the biggest bummer.
Yeah.
For sure when things like that happen.
This Supercross season was shaping up to be wild.
Epic.
Yeah. I remember before Glendale, I think everyone was healthy before Glendale.
Yes, I think so.
And then it was like Glendale happened and then
snowballed.
It was like boom, 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 which it still, I feel like it still ended up being a good series. Cause Chase and Coop kind of
toughs it out.
You know, you brought it to the end at least.
Yeah.
But the 250 class was crazy. I felt like
honestly, so 250s were on both sides really were really fun to watch.
Yeah. It was exciting for me. We kind of struggled on the Honda side in Supercross. Didn't start great, and then kind of started great with Joe, and then that was kind of like the highlight.
Yeah.
But you know, obviously the boys were coming around, but got hurt. So hopefully we can turn that around. But we'll see, man. I don't know if next year can kind of like continue to be that. I hope that it can. Some interesting moves happening.
Yeah, some interesting moves happening. I love that. And I think we talked the other day, or maybe I was talking to Ethan, I'm not sure, but I love all the silly season stuff. Like when Kenny was doing his whole thing a couple years ago before he went back to Suzuki, like that was so fun to watch. So I like people are moving, but it seems like there's not too many options.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like not quite as fun as Kenny's was, but still pretty cool.
Yep. I mean, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but it seems pretty common knowledge that Tomac's going to KTM.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
Very much so.
Yeah. It seems like the places he's been, Honda, Cowie, Yamaha, he's had a lot of freedom. Mm-hmm. And I don't picture KTM that way. I mean, that wasn't like totally my experience there, but I'm interested to see how that whole dynamic pans out.
Yeah, me too, which I know, and obviously I don't know as much as you do, but it seemed like they were not letting Coop be picky, but they let Chase be.
I was really surprised. I mean, there's kind of like, you hate to say a lot of things, but you know, I've heard some internal suspension components, you know, talk a lot about KYB parts and things like that. But that really shocked me that they kind of allowed him to do that. So maybe that happens with Tomac too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe. There's a clip of Cooper's reaction when Chase says something. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. In the press thing after, and Coop's like,
interesting.
That's funny to me. But.
Yeah. What's your take on Deegan?
I love to watch him ride.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I think he brings a lot of new fans and new media to the sport, right? Which is always great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's wild. Have you been to Star?
To the
when he's at the semi?
Oh yeah. Well, I walk by it and the line's like 3 business days long, and I'm like, you just have to look through the people if you want to see the bikes or anything.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Which I gotta like applaud them on their
for sure
social media, YouTube. Like, man, they have done a really good job at leveraging that. I'm not sure it's for everybody, but they're definitely, I mean, that's like a whole business, you know?
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I think they're super smart. Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize how smart, they are with the marketing.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I think from the outside, my perception is a lot of people from the outside really like it.
Yeah.
And I think some of the core people are like a little bit like put off by it.
Right.
But I look at it from just like the business aspect. Like I definitely wouldn't have wanted to kind of do what they've done, but it's really smart. Like he's creating something that will last probably beyond his racing, I'm guessing.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel the same way. Like, it's like, I wouldn't want to be that guy, but somebody has to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the way that they are executing it, I think is the best way you can.
Yep.
So, it works for them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hate on it. You know what I mean? So, I'm not that guy, but somebody's got to be that guy.
Yeah. And I mean, you really can't deny the attention that it brings to the sport.
Yeah.
Which I think him and, Jack getting to go to Met Gala, different things like that have just been really positive for our sport. So, turning the page a little bit, content creation.
Yeah.
What inspired this? I'll just let you kind of tell us, give us the beginnings of that.
Yeah. So when my wife was pregnant with our first child, we have two. We have our oldest is a girl, our youngest is a boy. They're 4 and 1, basically. So when she was pregnant with our oldest, we decided we wanted to make YouTube videos. It was kind of always something that we were both interested in. Like I said earlier, I mentioned that there's a guy that I used to watch all the time, and there was a couple people that we watched together. We were always kind of into it. I never really saw us doing it, but it was during COVID. So she got pregnant in 2020. Mm-hmm. So she was kind of wanting to do it. And of course I'm like, yeah. And it's always been weird for me because I'm a private person.
Yeah.
Even when I was at the fire department, if I wasn't really friends with a guy, I didn't want them to know where we lived or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we'll do it. That was me supporting her, basically, is me saying yeah, let's do it, whatever. So we started doing it. We started making YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. And it was few and far between. It wasn't consistent. It was only when we had something to make a video about.
Yep.
So we started doing that when she was pregnant, and then some other content creators, which we're actually friends with now, she saw a TikTok video they made, and they were like, "Yeah, we wanted to do YouTube, but we started making TikTok videos, and it really helped our YouTube grow." Mm-hmm. So she's like, "Well, maybe we should try that." So she started making, at the time I was still at the fire department. She started making mom content, and it was just to the trending audios, none of our voices, nothing like that. And she actually got 25,000 followers, which we were like, yeah, that's huge.
We've made it.
Yeah. So then, the mustache thing is a big thing in the fire department. Mm-hmm. So I had a mustache, I shaved it off, and I got her reaction to me shaving it off, which is something that I would do normally, or I would scare her and film it. We would just never post anything like that. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, she just decided to post it on TikTok because it was funny. And it blew up, man. Just got millions of views, and we made a part 2 and all. And so we were but the big thing was our voice, mm-hmm. because I don't think, I could be wrong, but there was no really Southern couples on at the time. Yep. And so we were kind of that first breakout Southern couple. And so if we didn't talk the way we talk, we probably wouldn't have, but it was what she was saying and how she was saying it that people were flipping out over.
Yeah.
So we're like, wow, we got to keep this going. So we did, and we went from that 25,000 to 1 million on TikTok in a month.
Wow.
And so
that's a big change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just kind of wrote it out, and, it was something that she wanted to do. Right. And so we just stuck with it, and here we are. That was 2022.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been over almost 4 years now, really, since that kind of happened.
Yep. Wow, man. That's wild.
Yeah.
That I didn't realize it happened that fast.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild. And today, what would you say your overall viewership is for Devin and you?
I don't know, honestly. It's kind of tough. Everything's different, right? We have a combined total of over 7 million followers, which is crazy to even think about.
Yeah.
It got, honestly, if you put it into when you're at a Supercross race or a football game or whatever, that stadium is only 40, 50,000 mm-hmm. people. Some are a little bigger.
Yep.
But we're so when we hit that, we're oh, a whole, imagine us in the middle of the thing and everybody just staring at us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so we're blessed for sure. And it's we try to be a light,
yep.
on social media for many different reasons, but it's it's an interesting dynamic for sure.
I bet. So. I want to go back to in a second, the genuineness of the content, because it seems like you guys didn't start out to like be a huge YouTube stars or social media influencers or content creators. Sorry.
No, I don't.
But
whatever.
But that image, I want to pause on that image for a second of 7 million people looking at you.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it is. It can be like a little unnerving and but it's like, I don't know. It's honestly hard to even describe, right? Because that's a lot of people, and we don't get like that many views on all of our content, obviously.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it's like, that's why we try, like I feel like we do our best to try to show like what's real, you know, and like a lot of people comment. We don't reply to all of our comments, obviously, but like a lot of people comment and be like, oh, I want to be like y'all, like y'all are perfect. And I'll like be like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's like, we're also not going to post a video of us like in an argument on TikTok. You know what I mean? So, but like we do try to show, especially like in our long form content, like we try to show like what life is like actually like for us.
Yep.
So we enjoy that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I think it's easy to look at content creators and think, man, that's just like so easy. And, and kind of from like my racing side too, it was like, oh man, it must be amazing to be a professional motocross racer, which it is. Like I hate, like I never want to sound like ungrateful or like, oh man, it was just the worst. Cause I look back at it and I'm like, that was pretty cush. I really enjoyed it. But there's a lot of hard things that you have to do that people don't see. And I think people aren't really totally willing to do.
Right.
So it's not all cakes and roses all the time, I guess is the point.
Yeah.
So has that been, I don't know. I mean, we are at 11,000 subs on the YouTube. Keep it going. We need 41,000.
Yeah. And then just stop right there.
Yeah. We're going to be done at that point.
Get, what? 441,000?
41 million.
41 million. Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna,
that's it.
Then I don't know what I do at that point. Okay. I'd probably just quit.
Yeah.
But
then you can get your tattoo.
That's I would for sure get a tattoo of like whatever people wanted me to get at that point. Face tattoo, I don't care.
Yeah.
Just let's do
just 41 right here.
So yeah, what do you think is the biggest challenge? And maybe that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't want to put you in a position that's like, you maybe feel uncomfortable in, but what do you think is one of the biggest challenges?
It's I don't know, it's a lot for me, honestly, because kind of like I said, it was never something that I really, and this sounds really bad to say, I don't mean it in a bad way, but it was never something that I ever really wanted.
Right.
So it was like, it's almost this thing that at times I can sometimes feel like it was kind of thrown on me.
Right.
Because she wanted to do it and I was supporting her, and now we're like, oh wait, we're successful in it. You know what I mean? It's like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
So I made the decision to either leave the fire department or stay. So leave and do social media content with her full time, or stay and do that. And obviously I chose what I chose, which I'm grateful for. But at the same time, it's more work, like amount of work than we've ever done in our lives. And a lot of people don't understand that unless you do it. And I was the same way. Like when I used to just absorb the content and not create content, I would be like, oh, these people just have fun all day and
just film themselves and throw it up there.
Yeah. But it's not like that at all, for sure. And then the privacy thing, which we kind of talked about the other day, is that can be tough. Because like I said, I've always been a private person. And now I basically have no privacy. Much. Like a lot of people know so much about us, and which is great. And like obviously we share that. So it's like it's just kind of this weird thing. But I mean it's cool, like going places and people knowing who we are and stuff. Like that's fun, you know. And I mean everything has its pros and cons for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if I really I don't know if I had 7 million people following my racing career, but it was it was a good amount of celebrity in a way, because you could like go to the mall, you could go eat dinner, and rarely would anyone kind of stop you. And I don't know if it's probably harder for you guys than for me, and whenever I was at the height of my career, but I see like NBA players and top level NBA guys, and like, dude, that must be really hard to constantly be bombarded,
Right.
But I think you guys do it really well, like from the outside, and I guess I can relate to you a little bit. Like, I love riding, I love racing, I love developing, I love talking to people like you, I like making funny videos, but I don't really I'm like a pretty introverted person. So
yeah, me too.
So whenever people like praise me or like want to just talk about all these things, it's not that I'm shooting for, which it seems like maybe we're similar in that way.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I would honestly, like, I would love it if we could put our I'm talking about myself. Yeah. I would love it if we could put our content out and then like nobody ever really say anything. And it's not the bad that I'm talking about. It's the good too.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? So I love when we meet people and they're like, hey, like, I love watching y'all's videos, and we just kind of move on. And not to say that people that want to take a picture and stuff, I don't like that, because that's great and everything, but I'm just naturally introverted, which we've talked about on our channels before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the same exact way.
Yeah. Yep. You mentioned I'm sure there are negative comments. How do you guys deal with that? From my experience, is it's really hard.
Yeah, it's tough. I think I have a little bit easier time with it than she does, but I don't know. There's a lot of bad comments that are just dumb. It's like, what are you even talking about? You know what I mean? It's like, that doesn't even make any sense. And like, people it's funny because like since we share somewhat about our lives, then people just automatically assume that they know everything about us.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what I mean? So those are like fine. Like, who cares? What are you even doing? What are you even saying?
Yeah. Yep.
But then the ones that comment about like, because my wife's like, she's kind of a cross between introvert and extrovert. Like, if she knows you, she's definitely not introverted. You know what I mean? But like, meeting people, she's going to act like all good. But like, around me and like around our friends, she's the goofy one. She's the class clown kind of.
Yep.
So when people say something about that, like, in like, oh, you shouldn't act like that, and she's just like a goofy person, like you goon riding, like, you think that's fun, So if somebody was like, that's stupid, then she's like, well, is it? Like, should I be serious all the time? You know? So it's things like that like comment on your character and like kind of, or your personality and like who you are as a person.
100%.
Like, yeah. And then people talk about us being like bad parents or whatever. And that, always gets in the back of your head, whether it's true or not,
Yep.
So, but we really try not to put our kids in the content a lot. Like, they'll be in the background, of course, because we're at home, but we try not to make content about them.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Which I really respect, because I think, you could probably leverage that in a way, which tells me you're like putting parenting first.
Yeah. For sure.
So I know in Oklahoma anyway, if you say like, hey, I'm a content creator on social media, people would be like, this is probably I don't know if this is a good comparison, but when I met Hannah, so I broke my back, had a year to heal, always wanted to go on this trip to Tanzania, Africa, the mission trip. Never had the chance, had a year off. Let's go. She went on the trip with the group and we kind of hit it off. Always told people I met someone in Africa, and they're like, yeah, really? Yeah. But whenever we first started dating, she kept asking me what I did for a job. And I'd be like, I race motorcycles. And she'd be like, okay, yeah. So like, what do you do like to make money?
Yeah.
And she just couldn't get it like through her head that was like a job.
Yeah.
And then she came to her first Supercross and was like, oh, okay. Like it makes sense. But is there a misunderstanding of what you do at home just because it's not as common as, say, Southern California?
Yeah, like a lot of people, like we still see people out and they're like, I had no idea y'all lived here, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's funny because when we see people that don't know who we are, or like sometimes somebody will see us and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I love y'all, whatever, we'll take a picture. Well, then like if we're at a restaurant, somebody else sitting beside us, we're like, who are y'all?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so then we kind of have to explain it. But if somebody ever asks me what we do, I just say marketing.
Yeah. I've used that same thing. Cause I mean, being introverted, I'm on a lot of planes and you know, not so much anymore, but like 10 years ago, one of the first things people said when they're on a plane, they sit next to you is, hey, what do you do?
Yep.
And I would just tell them, hey, I work for Honda. Because once I said I race motorcycles, it was like,
game on.
Can you do backflips?
Yeah.
You know, are you in the X Games? How many bones have you broken?
Yeah.
How fast do you go? And it's like embarrassing to say, I don't really know how fast I go.
Right.
Like there's not a speedometer.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like, what's the top speed of your bike? And I'm like, I don't know.
And this was kind of before like GPS was like, you know, now we have a lot of data you know, we still had data then, but it wasn't as, you know, we didn't talk about it so much. But yeah, so the same thing. It's like, oh, I work for Honda, and it'd be kind of like, oh yeah, cool. I drive a Civic, and you're like, oh great, you know, great car, you know, Japanese engineering.
Yeah,
have a good flight.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, like the elevators, especially like the older the person is. No offense, but I'm like, yeah, marketing. Yeah, and because you say anything about social media, and they want to know how it all works.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But if you just tell them marketing, like they're okay with that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it's on.
Yeah.
You could even tell them social media marketing and it's okay.
Yeah.
But if you just say social media or like content creation, they're like,
yeah.
It's not any different. And it's kind of funny. When I was leaving the fire department, it's like people question the longevity of it. I'm like, well, this is the new media. So like we had radio, then we had TV, and now we have social media.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's basically the same thing in a different form.
Right.
So I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
Yeah. And I think you guys caught it like probably one of the perfect times.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, and kind of back to what I was saying just a minute ago, the content is good. Like it's so genuine. And I know that's just kind of like an example of you guys as character in general. But I never see it in kind of like go like, oh man, they're just really trying to like sell this thing.
You're right.
It really comes across as genuine.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. In the beginning, I know that was easy, right?
Yeah.
You post a video of you shaving your mustache and then it's like, oh, that was really good. Has it gotten more difficult as it's become more of a job, right? To put content that's like more natural.
Yeah. So like a lot of people, we don't really get this comment as much anymore, but of course, like the big thing on social media or like especially short form content is it being scripted. And I'm like, we're not scripting our video. We don't have time to script our video, to sit down and like, you know what we're going to. So like literally all of our short, unless we're doing something to like a trending audio, obviously we know what we're going to do. But if it's us talking, it's not scripted. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, so with that being said, it's like we don't post as much as we did because, you know, now with 2 kids, we're just busier. So we literally like, instead of scheduling to film a video, we schedule ourselves to be just us together, like without the kids, like so we can have somebody to watch the kids and then we'll go like to the mall or whatever. And then we'll get a video out of that.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Something happens because that's pretty much all of our couple short form content is like something that's naturally happening that I'm like, hey, I got to film this. You know? Of course, like my videos of me like riding, like working on my truck, you know, that's different. And then she has her own things that she does just by herself. But our like meat of us is all like off the cuff.
Yeah. Which I think for, you know, when I think about creativity, you know, within our race team, American Honda, I think one of the reasons that we've done well is I think the leadership has given people a space to create and have ideas. You know, it's not like, hey, this guy does this and, you know, and that guy's kind of stuck in his thing. It's like we've done a really good job of being open. And I think that allows creativity to just happen. But man, I know that's got to be hard with kids because I mean, we had breakfast this morning. You know, my kids are like fighting over a golf club, and it's like, Oh man, like the cortisol levels are high constantly. Yeah. So to like get the creative juices flowing, that's got to be hard. So is there one thing that you do? I mean, I guess other than, send the kids with mom or something like that. Is there anything you guys do to kind of help you get into that? Or is it just, let's just try to let this happen?
Yeah, we just kind of try to let it happen. It's like, it's hard to film something like when we're maybe like stressed or busy or whatever.
Yep.
But like kind of what I was saying is like a lot of our stuff that we film is like something that's happening naturally. So whether it's like, the messy bathroom counter. It's like a lot of our couple content is, I feel like, relatable to like most. Like she had to buy this crazy pillow the other day because she got her ears pierced and they were hurting. So I'm like, what is this pillow? You know what I mean? So it's just stuff like that. So it's like, it's hard when if we're not like in the mood to film, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like, sometimes we kind of have to be like, there are a lot of times where it's like, this would be a great video, but we're just not in the mood to film.
Yeah. Right.
So just kind of situations like that,
Yep. Yeah. I think, and at your level too, and this is just my perception and maybe like putting my experience to it, but I remember having a bad day at Supercross and then you've got to go sign autographs and it's like, you are not in the mood to like talk to people.
Yep.
And then people will say things like, I heard a lot like, hey, I was at Dodger Stadium when you broke your back.
Yeah.
I thought you were dead.
Yeah.
Not thinking that I'm going to go race like in 2 hours.
Right.
But it was difficult, I'd say, to be genuinely like interested and happy and all that. But I almost saw it as like, hey, this is an obligation that I need to do because people look to you,
Yeah.
So I think, even if it's forced sometimes, you guys are doing a good job at the platform that you have. Mm-hmm. So just, I guess that's not a question, but just to say good job, keep going.
Thanks.
And I think a big part of that for me was my faith. Mm-hmm. That really motivated most, if not everything that I did. How much is that influencing your content, your faith?
A lot. Like, that's pretty much the reason why I left the fire department.
Yep.
Is because I felt like my season was over there, and like God was calling me to something different. And it was honestly like, this has been the biggest challenge of my life.
Yep.
Like stepping out of that. And even like within the past, year, really, not so much the past few months, but after our second was born, I like really hit this wall of like, what am I doing with my life? Like I'm making these stupid videos, you know what I mean? Like none of this matters. This is all dumb. You know what I mean? I just kind of got in this thing where I was really like, I don't want to say unhappy, but I was like I need a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And I was over the fire department thing, and I knew that like God had called me out of that season. So, but I was searching for something else for a long time.
Yep.
And now I struggled with that for a while. So, but now I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing for now, at least. Yep. So I've been able to enjoy it again. And now I'm here doing this, which is cool and fun. Yep. But so and that was like, even when we started, it was like, she felt like, that was what she had been called to do. Like, and even felt, so she got hired at this company close by doing their social media. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I felt like the Lord was calling me to do social media. And she thought that was it.
Yep.
She worked there for like a month. She's like, this is not it. So she's like, she literally, and this was right after we had our first, she went back to work for the first time doing that. And that was something different than she went to college for. Mm-hmm. She had a degree and she was working, and she was like, I don't think I want to do that anymore.
Yep.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought here.
Yeah.
But she, so I'm like, okay, if that's what you feel like we're supposed to do. And it was like kind of an interesting subject because people, when she quit that job, she wasn't there very long. And people, her family and friends and stuff were like, well, what are you going to do? Like you were saying.
Yeah.
And she's like, she told him, she's like, I feel like I'm supposed to do social media. And people are like,
don't do that.
Yeah. We're like, what do you mean? which is crazy to think about because, you know, it was obviously that's what God's plan was for us.
Yeah.
And like, so we, you know, we try to like I mentioned earlier, like we try to be a light on there. Like we're not preachers or pastors or anything.
Yep.
So we don't really go on there and like, you know, share our devotions or anything. We have done a little bit of that, but it's something that like if we read something or if we do something and we feel called to share it, then we will. Yep. But it's like we try to just let people see the fruit,
right?
You know, in our lives, and that's kind of our main way to share. We don't really feel called to make like Christian content, if you want to say that, you know, and that may change one day. But that right now, that's kind of what we do.
Yep. I'm a big fan of how you guys do this because I don't think you really need to say anything to see that there's something different about the content. And I think that was my goal in racing the whole time was, and I did say things on the podium and things like that. And there were, you know, several times that I shared my faith in a bigger way, but to me, like the most value that I ever had was the genuine conversations that I was having with people and the experiences I would have with people when they go, man, that I don't know what it is about you, but I like really appreciate it. And that's not a conceited thing to say, but that's what I hope people saw. Cause you know, in our faith, like people should see that's Christ, you know?
Right.
But yeah, and I definitely wrestled with it at times. It's like when you think about racing, it's like going around a track a bunch of times, and it can be very selfish, right? Like you've got to, you know, cut off certain things, and you know, it's a little bit selfish in a way because you just have to be disciplined and you have to focus on yourself in a lot of ways. But I think, man, just having that platform and then using it well, I think is really, really God honoring. And, you know, again, not a question, but good job.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks again.
I definitely wrestle with that at times. And I think if you're a believer, like there's this temptation to go like, unless I'm like a missionary or, you know, I'm like on a church staff, I'm really not doing the right things. But, I guess I would just encourage listeners like, hey man, like one of my favorite things that I've ever heard on a podcast is from Bob Goff. And he says, when you don't know what to do, just do the next thing. And man, that is so helpful to me because there's so many times of uncertainty in life. Like I'm sure you've had a lot of uncertainty in even going to social media, leaving the fire department. But I think if you can just be faithful and doing the next thing, man, there's so much value in that.
Yeah, for sure.
So kids, you know, I know you don't like to put them at the forefront, but we're kind of in the same season of fatherhood. Yeah. And it is wild.
Yeah, it's a ride.
Especially, you know, we're both, you know, I go on trips and things. I'm at the races on the weekends doing test trips. But when I'm home, I'm here.
Yep.
And there's work that still needs to be done here, and that can be challenging, you know. So yeah, what's that like for you?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because like we work from home, we're at home every day, so it's, you know, and the kids are most of the time there, unless somebody's keeping them for us or whatever, because they're not quite at the school age yet. We're gonna start that soon with our oldest, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it's, you know, it can be tough, but it's such a blessing because like I grew up, both my parents, you know, had the normal traditional work outside the home and all that, but so it's a blessing, but it, like I said, it can be tough at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a blessing in that like you're available,
right?
But it's also a curse that you're available.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be on like a team call or something, and August is just like, Dad, what are you doing in there? You know, like, I'm sorry, buddy, I gotta work.
Yeah, exactly. And it's tough to, you know, like explain to them that we're working. Yeah, you know, when they just see us on our phones, or the computer or whatever it is, and it's like, you know, because we try to explain because she'll get bummed like, oh, well, you can't play, and I'm like, well, we couldn't play with any toys if we didn't work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like a weird kind of subject, I guess, for them. But
yeah, I totally get that. And even the days where I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend 1 hour like glued to August or glued to Willow, like, you finish that hour and you're like, okay, daddy's going to go work. And they're like, okay. And then like 5 minutes, right? And then we're going to play again.
Yeah.
And so like getting to that point of like, you know, I gotta just say, hey, Hannah, I like really need to get these things done.
Yeah.
But that's hard. It's really hard to balance that.
Yeah. I've found that like it can make it hard, but we like really try to get work done first and then play, because if we start playing, then it's like, it's never enough.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like which is kind of, we know people that do it the other way around, but for us, that's just what works.
Yep.
Cause like, it's like, you know, she's more bummed if we stop playing with her than if we just say, like, oh, we can't right now.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that works for us. But.
Yeah. Yep. Do the kids watch the content?
She does. He's too little still.
Yeah.
But she does a little bit, like, you know, we'll be editing or something, and she's like, what are you doing? And we're like, oh, we're editing a video. And then she's like, well, can I see? So like, we don't show her everything, obviously, but she does see some of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
My son loves our content, man. Yeah. It's like we drop a video and he loves to watch it.
That's cool.
Which is really cool for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bummer that they'll never get to see my racing career.
Right.
You know, I never really get to share that with him, but it's funny because he thinks I'm like really good.
Yeah.
My mom, it's been a couple months ago, but she was like, after a Supercross, he went and he loved it and had fun. And she goes, hey, you know, your daddy, he used to be really fast. Mm-hmm. And he goes, my dad is still fast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's not wrong in the grand scheme here.
But I love that about that. Like he can watch that and it still gives him something to see me do.
Yeah.
Which,
that's cool.
Which I really, you know, I hope that the content and maybe the same for you, like can they'll be able to watch it someday.
Yeah.
And go like, okay, this is what my parents were doing.
Yeah.
And they can take a lot of joy and pride in that.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that because I actually left that out of the story. That was the original reason that we started making YouTube videos is so she could go back and see like what we were doing when she was in the womb and then when she was a baby and, you know, and now we have two. So same applies. But, you know, originally that's why we started is so she could, we were kind of making like the old school home videos.
Yeah.
And we were just posting them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much why we started.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was a showy athlete. There's a video that popped up the other day, and I was 18, and Augie loves that video.
Yeah.
He's like, Dad, let's watch the one where you're real young.
Yeah.
And it's just funny, like, you know, that was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. And it's just cool for him to be able to look back on that, you know, which I would die for the chance to see some of the things from my parents at that age. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be so funny to see them. We're kind of like from that era where home video was not as important, you know, but before cell phones for sure.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get a lot of you know, old family video.
Right.
But, so yeah, no, it's cool, you know, and I think I've wrestled with it a little bit, like, why am I doing a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Like what's the real motivation there? But I've really enjoyed it. Like I think in Greg and Ammo, like he's made it fun. Like, and I think that's when I'll stop doing it is the day I'm like, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
But I've really enjoyed it. So, is there an aspect of it that you really like doing, the content creation?
I don't know. That's an interesting question, right? Because I had like never really had planned on doing it. Like I used to, like I said, I really used to like watching certain people. So, but like you just said, like when it stops being fun, that's how it was for me.
Yeah.
In the last like year.
Yep.
Is it stopped being fun, and now I've kind of found a new groove in it, and just started looking at it with a different mindset. I think has helped, but. You know, I mean, obviously the coolest part about it is being able to do things like this.
Yeah.
And I was able to ride at the first SMX finale on the little blue crew thing they did.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
And so like, I mean, not to say that like the best part is like getting to do cool things, but I don't know. Yeah. I like making my own videos. Like when I go to ride, make a video, or I have an old truck I like working on.
Yeah.
So doing things like that and sharing it, and like almost like having like a little community. That's fun. And then I recently kind of picked up running, so I've been sharing about that.
Yeah. How's that going?
Yeah, it's going.
Yeah, it's going.
It's going.
I look at your times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fun, and it's like a challenge for me. Yeah. And I think that I've like recently I've been more looking into finding challenges like that for myself, because I've never really done that. Yeah. And I really haven't done that at all since I was at the fire department. Like, right, that was a little bit of a challenge, like getting hired and going through the process. And then I got my paramedic license, so like all that. So I told my wife, I was like, I think I need a goal. You know what I mean? Like I need to do something and like be consistent. Yeah. And finish, or not finish, you know what I mean? But do something new, try something new, have a goal. So that's what I've enjoyed about it.
Yep. That was something that was really, really difficult for me when I stopped racing. Because, I mean, literally my whole life, there was always a race to look to, a season, a next chapter in racing. So when it ended, it was like, I've known what I was going to do. I shouldn't say I'd known what I'm going to do, but there's been something on the calendar since I was 8 years old, that I could look forward to. So to reach a point where it was like, so what are you going to do in November? And you're like, Thanksgiving, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. So I do think there's something in us that needs that like reaching towards kind of, but running. Yeah. I tried 2 years ago. I was going to do a half. I'd done halves, just on my own time, but I was trying to get faster and ended up hurting my knee a little bit. So, but yeah, if you do the Disney one, let me know. I'll come run with you.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
I don't know. Sweet. I might slow you down. I'm like a terrible runner.
No, I'm not very good either. But it's the chase, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's my ultimate goal right now, is to do a half.
Yep.
So we'll see. I kind of want to try mountain biking too. I've never done that.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see. I love mountain biking just with my racing background. It's like the closest thing to riding a motorcycle that you can do.
Right.
But it's just really easy to like, when you're riding, it's like, you got to get your gear ready, you get the bike ready, you go ride, drive an hour somewhere to go ride, and you come back, and then there's like a whole like 3 hour process you got to do to finish up riding. With a mountain bike, it's kind of like, we live right by a trail, so maybe this isn't a great example, but I can just ride out the garage and go have fun for an hour and then come back.
Right.
But it's maybe just a simple process, but yeah, do it, man. It's really fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you can do the e-bike thing too, like, maybe not the best for you. I've been riding mine too much. I got a Lebo, this last year.
Oh yeah.
And, I was telling Johnny O'Mara at the races, I got to put that thing away.
Yeah.
Cause I went for a ride on my acoustic bike, a couple months ago. And then, man, I was like, yep, time to put the e-bike away. But it is fun. Yeah. It is a lot of fun. So if you're doing it for fun, maybe try the e-bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate the time. We've got some other content coming out. You've got some content coming out on your side. Yep. So I'm excited to drop some of that. Where can people find you, man? Where do we look for you?
Yeah. So I do have YouTube now too. I think it's Hunter.Cordle on Instagram and YouTube. And then our family stuff is the Cordle family.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Which it's huge. Like, there's going to be a lot of girlfriends and wives that are like, hey, you listen, I recognize that guy. Yeah. That was awesome at Topgolf. Cause, I when I'm with my friends, it's like, I'm, usually the guy that gets recognized. That girl had no idea about me. She knew. That was really cool though. I really enjoyed that. So, but thanks again for your time, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Been a pleasure to get to know you. Like,
Same, yeah.
Yeah, really cool. Like, you know, for me, I've met people I've admired, and then, you know, there's some people that you're like a little bit disappointed. It's really fun when you can meet people and they're like, wow, that's what I pictured.
Yeah.
That's what they portray. So grateful to be able to meet you in that way, and yeah, check it out.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Thanks, man.